Okay, welcome back, class. This is part 2 of your Introduction to Microsoft Project 2013. As you can recall when we left off, we were talking about some of the initial steps in building a house. So we went through putting in the resources and also putting in some of the tasks for the initial steps. So let's continue on with putting in more tasks associated with building a house. The next task is going to be associated with applying for permits. So the first type of permit would be a foundation permit. And a framing permit. Electrical. Plumbing. And HVAC. So you can see, it still has all of my tasks entered in as scheduled manually. So I want to make sure that everything is auto-scheduled. Now, I also want to make sure that these tasks are associated with only applying for permits. And let's make sure that we put in the same predecessor for each, which is signing the contract. Also, for all of these permits, I'm going to assign them to the general contractor. So you can see that I have my first error message. You can see the little red tick mark here. It's saying that this task has been over allocated based on the resources that I've entered. So what does this mean? This means that my contractor is only available 8 hours per day. And I have him listed here for 5 tasks that I'm saying they all take a day to complete. So Microsoft Project is telling me that I do not have enough resources assigned to complete all of these tasks. So there's a few ways to fix this. One way could be to assign additional resources to a particular task. The other way is to reduce the duration of the task to allow the general contractor more time within the 8-hour period. So, if I start to change the working time and say that everything is going to take less than a day, then you can see my error message clears up. Another thing that I would like to do is to look at some of the other available columns. So if I scroll the screen out slightly, you can see that it has the ability to add a new column. So if I click on the drop-down menu, Microsoft Project has a lot of available options in terms of things that you may want to put on your Gantt chart. It all depends on what type of things that you want to track in terms of your project. I'm going to select on % complete because I want to know when I complete a task. So let's say these first couple of tasks are 100% complete. So this gives a quick visual. As my tasks are complete, Microsoft Project will put in a check mark next to that particular task. You will also see an overall percent complete for your entire project. This is why it's important to make sure that your tasks are linked together so that you can look at your overall percentage complete to know where you are with the project. So let's look at some of the other features that Microsoft Project has to offer. One of the things, if you go under View, there's a lot of different ways in which you can view your information. The default way is a Gantt chart view. But let's say I want to look at my resource usage. So you can see what happens. All of the particular resources that I entered in earlier are listed and they have hours associated with them. And it also has a breakdown as to which task they are associated with. So let's say you had a team of several employees that you wanted to make sure that the work was being balanced evenly. This will provide you a quick snapshot to understand if you have an equal balance among your team. So for right now, with the information that I've entered in so far, you can see that between the homeowner, mortgage lender, general contractor, and architect, they're pretty balanced in terms of their time on this project. One of the other features that I will highlight is the ability to run reports within Microsoft Project. The first report, if you click on the Report tab, is to look at resources. So let's say I wanted to look at a general resource overview. So this gives me a quick snapshot again of how the work is balanced out between all of my resources. This also gives you a visual to know if you're overextending one particular resource or if there's an opportunity to balance between some of the other resources. You can also see the percent of work complete by resources. This will help you to determine if particular members of your team are on track. So if I wanted to go back to the default, you go to View and Gantt chart. Let's look at another report. This time I want to look at the cost report. And I also want to look at the resource cost overview. So you can see where my project is on budget right now. So I have a total of $2,100 that's been spent on this project so far. And that's strictly based on the hourly rate that I put in for my resources earlier. You can see under the cost status, it'll give you a breakdown as to how much money you're spending on each resource. As you can recall, we didn't put in any information for the homeowner or mortgage lender. So although we had hours associated with those two resources, the actual cost is coming in at zero. You can also, if I go back to cost, instead of resource, let's say I wanted to look at it by task. So this gives me an overall quick summary of where I'm at on the complete project. If you had a project that had a lot of tasks and a lot of costs associated with it, you may want to start here first to understand whether you're on budget or not. If you're not on budget, then you can use some of the other reports to drill down to see how you can improve on your cost. So let's go back to View and Gantt chart. So I encourage you all to play around with Microsoft Project 2013 and learn some of the different features. Under each task, there's a lot of different options available to you. There are also tutorials online that will help you with your project planning needs. So just as a reminder, you want to make sure that you download a free 60-day copy of Microsoft Project 2013 from the Microsoft website. You will be utilizing this program in an upcoming written assignment. If you have any questions about this program or any issues with the assignment, feel free to place a message on the discussion board. Once again, this concludes part 2 of an introduction to Microsoft Project. Thank you and good luck on your assignment.